I'm Danyell Corey here at Danger Cat Central, and I'd like to welcome all of you to episode 3 of Makers, where I speak with artists who shape and make culture. I'd like to introduce my guests, Andie K and Marie Pettit, aka the Key of F. Hello.
Hey. Hi.
Hi. So I'm going to let them elaborate on the specifics of their style when we get to that, but for now, I'll say that Los Angeles-based The Key of F is a raging rock and roll band featuring Andie K on lead vocals and Marie Pettit on guitar and backing vocals. They share writing duties on their music, and their first single, Lies, debuted last year to much acclaim. Sleeping Bag Studios said, "The resounding confidence you'll find in the songwriting for Lies is the sound of someone taking their power back." Guitar Girl magazine said, "If Joan, Jett, and Danyell Souza of Dead Posey had a love child, it would be The Key of F." And Lucia Cifarelli, lead singer of the legendary KMFDM, said, "I've listened to Lies, and I think you ladies kick ass. You're absolutely fierce and fearless. Keep slaying." As of now, as of the posting of the show, Key of F's new single, Feelin the Mood, is now on all major musical outlets, and I'm going to let them tell you all about it. So without further ado, Andie, Marie, Key of F, welcome to Makers.
Yay, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Danyell. We appreciate it, and we're really happy to be here and very, very excited about this this song that we just released called "Feelin the Mood." It's very different to Lies, but it still has that rock and roll groove to it. We didn't want to stray too far from where we were with Lies to try to keep some kind of a uniform sound, but we definitely wanted to do something that was a little bit more fun, that had a little bit more of a swing rockabilly hybrid to it.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Marie was the one who actually had come up with the idea for the song.
We went to see a swing show, and we're watching this awesome group, and all the live instruments and everything, and amazing harmonies. And I'm watching the show, and I'm like, you know what? There's something here. This is inspiring me. And later I told Andie, I said, I'm going to write a song for you to sing that's swing with guitars and rockabilly, and we're going to get that feel in there. And then a little while later, we did.
Cool. Well, we can get a little more in the nitty gritty in the creation of the song in just a minute. I'm going to go back just a little bit, and we're going to talk about the previous stuff you did. But first, I just want to say full disclosure, I have been friends with both these ladies for a very long time. Andie and I have known each other a few decades, and we worked together in entertainment back in Florida. We're all in Los Angeles now. I've been here for quite a while, but Andie goes back to my Florida days. And then Marie, I've been working with Marie for over 15 years now.
Whoa.
So yeah, man. So full disclosure, some of the questions I'm asking, I may know the answer to already, but this is all the audience to enjoy. So yeah, but yeah, so we'll get a little more into Feelin the Mood soon. But first, I want to jump in and ask the kind of the first major question I'm going to ask all my guests on the show. What sort of art do you make, and what do you think your role is your role in shaping culture at large?
Nice. Well,
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I love making music. I've always loved making music. Pretty much my whole life, I've been drawn to music. My mom and my brothers, everybody sang and played instruments. And so for me, music is just, I've always been drawn to it, and I've always really appreciated it. And when I hear something good, it just piques my interest no matter what genre it is. It doesn't matter. I like good music. And so if I can contribute to that and be a part of that ginormous world, then that makes me very happy. And I do a lot of styles of music. Me personally, I do solo kind of folksy and comedy music. So that's always something fun I like to do on the side and make people laugh. But getting to collaborate, and when Andie and I met and figured out pretty quickly we enjoyed singing together, and then that turned into writing together. It's just any chance I get to make music is awesome. And when I get to make music with friends, that's even better.
Cool, cool.
I think for shaping culture, music for me has always been an escape. I've always been singing since a kid, and it's helped me through some really hard times, you know, being able to make music that might help someone else, that might motivate someone else, inspire somebody else, or just help them get through the day. That's a really good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's paying it forward.
Cool, cool. And how did you two meet? Was there a particular individual that was responsible?
What was his name?
Whoever
He was
they
a
are.
tall guy. Wasn't he
He should
married?
get an award. He should.
I can't tell how
Marie
tall.
was he married? He was like
yeah.
tall. He had black hair. Was it? What did he look like? I forgot.
Sorry,
A striking young fellow.
He really was. I remember he was good looking.
Or Marie. Okay, all right. You're getting it.
He was a good looking dude. Marie and I met through our very wonderful friend, Danyell Corey, and his wife, Brenda. It was a Halloween party one year, and Danyell and Brenda had invited me to go. And I remember hilariously, it was the year that Marie, you had dressed up as Natasha Fatale. And that was the very first time I met you. And at Universal Studios, one of the many jobs that I did in Orlando, I was Natasha.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'm going to get along with her just fine.
Got a couple of Natashas here.
Yeah, I did other stuff though. I was Rogue, I was Wilma. I did a 4-part harmony singing group that was in there as well, Disney and Universal. Good times.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe at that party, we sang some karaoke together.
Yeah.
We did. We did sing some. Was that I think the very first song that we sang together was Bloodletting by Concrete Blonde.
That probably is the case.
Because I think you were like, hey, do you know this song? And I'm like, yeah.
It is a song I love to play.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
So, well, let's talk about, we touched on it a little bit, but maybe go in a little more detail. Your background's in music. How did you come to the art? So just maybe talk about your first experience of singing in front of people, or your first musical instrument you learned. If you could each maybe share a little bit about that and how it's informed what you're doing right now. Oh
God. I started singing when I was really, really young. Mm-hmm. I was probably in 3rd grade. I don't know how old that made me. What, 6, 7, somewhere around there. And I remember sitting in class, and it was a math lesson that we were having. And I was just not understanding what was going on that chalkboard. Mm-hmm. And this woman came to our classroom, and she made an announcement. She said, if anybody here wants to come with me now to audition for the school play, please go ahead and come with me. And very quickly I went, if I go with her, I don't have to stay here. And that's got to be so much better. So I actually went to go audition to get out of math class that I was sitting in. And I went, and they had me sing, and I sang, and I ended up getting cast in the play. And that's kind of what started this whole rigmarole with that. So that's how. I
was by theater in high school as well. So I identify with that thoroughly.
Yeah. Really. Marie, how did you get involved?
For me, growing up in my house, my mom was a singer. She did Sweet Adeline's barbershop quartet. Her father did barbershop quartet, and of course sang in the church choir. And she was determined that all of her children would sing, read music, and play an instrument. And we did. So she tried to make us the little Von Trapp family children. We weren't quite that. But so I learned to sing and read music. I sang in the church choir. I sang in the school choir. When I was little, I started learning to play piano. I wanted to play guitar. My brother had a guitar, and I wanted to play it, but I couldn't get my hands around the neck. It was too big. And I was like, okay, I guess I won't. And so I stuck with piano for a very, very long time. And I didn't pick up guitar until probably sometime in college.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, let me try that again. So it was very much incorporated singing and especially harmonies. That was a big deal too. Like we would listen to music and mom would say, let's find another harmony. And I was like, okay, that's weird, but okay. So.
Yeah, guitar is an instrument that a lot of people come to later. It's you know, I guess it's typically kind of difficult for a little child, although a lot of little kids do play guitar, but some kids struggle with it early on. I know, like, I heard Eric Clapton once say that he started playing when he was 14. Actually, I just did this online Zoom class with Eric Johnson, and I think he said 14 as well. Yeah, he was
cool.
as well. Yeah, so, you know, I started playing guitar when I was 15, I think. Yeah. So it's just just like you, Marie, I started playing piano in grade school. I think I started taking lessons at 8 or something like that. So, but yeah, that's kind of a natural progression for a lot of people, a lot of folks in musical families. You know, so you learn piano first, then you learn guitar when you're a teenager or something. So, but
that's when you start to rebel.
Yeah. And there was always a thing, like, girls were always encouraged to sing, but boys weren't. But then they did a thing in my high school. It's this little private school, and they did a thing. They wanted to make a big choir, so they required everybody to be in the choir pretty much. And like, so I was in the choir and there was all these football jocks and stuff, whatever, in the choir too. And everybody ended up loving it. You know, all the jocks loved it. You know, everybody had a great time. You know, that was funny, but that was a nice thing that my school did. They made all the boys sing, and I'm glad.
Like Glee.
Yeah.
It was like Glee.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Maybe, yeah. How funny. But let's see here. You know, so let's talk a little bit about Key of F and your influences. Like, what are your influences, and how would you describe your sound?
Our sound is, it's definitely rock and roll, but Marie and I have kind of polar. She's laughing. She's looking at me. She's like, "Oh God, here he comes." We have polar opposites on influences, which I actually think helps in the songwriting ability, because we're bringing different elements of all of these different influences in music. I come from, KMFDM has always been one of my favorite bands. And as a matter of fact, I dragged a really close friend of mine to a KMFDM concert
Fellow gentleman
here in Los Angeles. He's a really good friend, and he might be on this Zoom call right now.
Fun show. Yeah, and Andie had KMFDM tickets, and my wife Brenda was supposed to go, but she couldn't last minute, and so I'm like, okay, I'll take her. It's just because that's not usually the style of music I listen to, but I did enjoy the show very much. You know, it was an experience for sure. You know,
we had a really good time. So there, between like KMFDM and 9 Inch Nails, and you've got some other industrial metal groups and rock and roll that I kind of come from, and then there's the bluesy stuff where you've got like a lot of Dorothy that I like, and that it blends so nicely with Marie's tastes too, because I know that Marie, you've been heavily influenced by Queen, right?
Oh yeah, Queen has been my favorite band since I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I grew up on all the classic rock stuff, like all the 70s classic rock. And they were really heavy harmony bands, you know, Queen, Kansas, you know, Styx, like all those bands really had tight harmonies.
I know you like Judas Priest too.
Huh?
Judas Priest is another one you like.
Oh yeah. Oh, I like the heavy metal stuff too. Judas Priest and Motley Crue. Less with the harmonies on that side, but I definitely like the heavy guitars, and you know, I'm a big fan of lots of guitar, the drums, you know, I want to see the guitarist and the drummer up there sweating it out, you know?
Yeah. as an example of your fandom when it comes to Queen, would you mind telling us the story about the time you met Brian May?
Okay. Actually, it wasn't too long after I moved to LA, and I was working with Dan. And but I was in LA, and of course in LA, when someone gets their star on the Walk of Fame down in Hollywood, you know, it's a story they know about. You're like, hey, there's someone getting their star in Hollywood today. And of course it happens pretty often, but that's one of those things out here that, you know, goes on. And I was like, wait a minute, Queen's getting their star. I have to go. And I remember telling my boss at work, it's like, I'm going to be in late tomorrow. As soon as it's done, I'll come right here. And they're like, okay, cool, have fun. And we work for a very cool company. And and so I went, and I'm down there, and I've got my CD, hoping to meet somebody and get an autograph. I got my camera, taking as many pictures as I can. And you've got Brian May and Phil, I'm blanking, drummer, Phil, drummer's there. And
that's why.
As I was that day. And so they get their star, they do the whole ceremony, and then they go inside this little club, and everybody's just outside waiting. Huh?
Roger Taylor.
Thank you. My gosh, Roger Taylor. Oh, I know this. I'm sorry, Queen. And so Roger Taylor and Brian May there, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so exciting. This is so exciting. And then at one point, someone in the crowd, there's a little buzz. They're coming out the back door of the club. I'm like, oh, and so we all run to the back. And Roger Taylor comes out, and I got a picture of him, but I couldn't get an autograph. And then someone's like, Brian May's going to come out the front door. What? And a few of us run back around to the front of the club. And sure enough, Brian May comes out, and I'm like, there he is. Oh my gosh. They shuttle him into his limo as fast as possible. And I'm like, and I'm right by the limo, and they shut the door, and the window's going up, and I'm like, no. And there I am on the door of the limo.
Like Garfield.
And I've got my CD. I've got my Night at the Opera, of course, the best album of all time. I've got that CD in my hand, and the window goes, yeet, just a little bit. And I put my hand in the window with the CD. I feel a little movement. I pull my hand down, and I've got Brian May's autograph. I'm like, thank you.
I love that story.
I don't know if I've ever heard that story before.
It was pretty awesome.
How have I not heard that story before?
I think Marie told me that story a decade ago. I still remember it.
I probably told you when I got back to the office. Like, go listen to my story.
That's awesome.
It was very cool.
Man. So all of those influences come together. Is that basically, I mean, would you describe yourself as part, KMFDM, part Dorothy, part Queen? Or how would you?
I mean, definitely rock and roll with, and this has actually been said about us, and I agree. It's got like kind of a swampy feel, which would be the bluesy influence, and the harmonies are in there. So I feel like all of that comes together. But it's definitely a rock and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind
on the edge of hard rock,
alt rock, bluesy swamp rock, kind of a thing with, a little bit of a grit. If you can imagine Joan Jett modernized, and that's not to, like I said, just taking that kind of a gritty, soulful, kind of like an alt rock sound, and just bringing it into 2020.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
So I'll go into a little bit of detail on your first single. It came out last year, Lies, and the genesis of that. So you collaborated with our good friends Alex Calise and Dennis Morehouse, aka Bat Farm, who I'm going to show eventually here very soon, hopefully. So you collaborated with Bat Farm to create that song. Andie, the song, it started with your lyrics, right? Is that how it did?
Yeah, it did. I started writing Lies because back in 2019, I went through a pretty horrible breakup, and I needed some kind of an outlet just to get things down. So I just started writing on a piece of paper, and Marie had come over to be a friend and to, see how I was doing. And she saw what I was writing, and she had said, "You wrote a song. How does the melody go?" And I said, "I don't know." Because I've always sang other people's music. I've never actually written anything on my own. And at that point in time, I didn't even know how to read music.
Mm-hmm.
I just relied on my ear.
Yeah.
So Marie and I sat down, and I started humming out some stuff, and she started humming some stuff back to me, and we worked out the melody to it. And then we took it to our vocal coach, Darcy Monet,
Mm-hmm.
and we would shed it with Darcy. And luckily our friends Alex and Dennis were so lovely, because I wasn't sure how to go about, neither was Marie. We were like, we don't know if this is going to be something or not. Marie and I were talking about forming a band, but it was more like joking around. And Alex and Dennis,
I still think she's kidding.
She does too. She's like, "What's
acting like it's so real?" And I'm like, "What?"
So Alex and Dennis were kind enough to come on board as producers, and they also played on the track as well. Alex was doing lead guitar, Dennis was doing drums, and we had the amazing Jen Oberly, who was our bass guitarist. She's so awesome. She's been our bass guitarist on all of our songs, which is 2. all two.
Yeah.
And if I would keep her, if we could,
Yeah.
So that's kind of and Alex and Dennis were great about helping Lies evolve, between what Darcy did and Alex and Dennis, and we took it to Ultimate Studios with Charlie. Between all of them and Charlie's input and Alex and Dennis's input, Darcy's input, it just started to evolve and take shape into what you hear today. And we were so happy with it.
Yeah, cool. And it's a driving hard rock, kind of angry, almost, it's punk.
Yeah, it's a punk rock post breakup tune that hopefully will give people the strength to know that just because it's a breakup, they can still move forward with purpose. Cool,
man. Awesome. So I'm going to have links on the page here. If you're watching this on my website, I'm going to have links that you can buy and stream all the songs, Lies and Feelin' the Mood. So let's talk a little more now about Feelin' the Mood. We talked a little bit, you talked a little bit earlier about the style of it. And again, just go a little more deeper into the nitty gritty of the genesis of that song. How did that come about?
Well, it was kind of because like I said, I had this idea percolating, like, okay, I want to do something rockabilly. I want to put in harmonies and just have that kind of swing feel, but more rock and roll, heavier, a little heavier, like Andie said, to match what we already had going. And so I just kind of started coming up with some lyrics in my head, and it was funny. I was driving in my car, of course, the most convenient place to think of something. Mm-hmm. And I was on my way home, and I'm in the car, and I started hearing a tune and hearing some lyrics. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get home as fast as possible, within the limits of not speeding. But I'm driving home, and I'm just singing it over and over and over. And I get out of the car and lock the car, and I'm singing and I'm singing. And I go in my house, and I'm singing. And I grab the tape recorder, which is, my phone, and immediately started singing what I had in my mind. I was like, okay, can't forget that. And then I was like, okay, something's happening here. The song is forming. And I wanted to put in the harmonies that you have in rockabilly, in swing, in that style of music, but it still needed to be rock and roll. Mm-hmm. So, in my mind, I'm hearing the harmonies, and, it starts off kind of in that Andrews Sisters type realm of like, okay, these are tight 3-part harmonies. The girls are got to do the hands, and the girls are on stage with their little Navy hats on, Yeah. So I'm hearing these harmonies, but I knew it wasn't going to stay there, but it was like, here's a starting point. And then again, we took it to our vocal coach, Darcy Monet, and we're like, help us, help us flesh out these harmonies and bring them into more rock and roll. And she was very integral to that. And she helped us. She became the vocal producer. And so she helped us craft those harmonies. And she even sang with us in the studio.
Cool, cool. Very nice. And you're back with Charlie Waymire at Ultimate Studios.
Yeah. Yes. And Charlie took on producing this one. So whereas before we had Alex and Dennis, this time Charlie was like, no, I'll produce it. And he really helped us shape the musical aspect of what Feel in the Mood sounds like. I know in the writing process, there were a lot of things. Usually Marie and I, we write everything together, and we'll usually like bounce it back and forth, and we'll have rehearsals and stuff like that. And in 2020, we've been rehearsing over Zoom.
Yeah.
Which is, it's not helpful, but at least there's a way to actually kind of, see one another and try to do this. But yeah, what Charlie ended up bringing to the table, he added this, he just added like another level to where we had musically, and it just tied it into that swing rockabilly. But putting it still in the realm of rock and roll.
Yeah. And he knows, of course, like every musician ever. And so he had a good line on different musicians who would bring the right feel to the song. And so like Lenny J on the guitar, and he knew, oh my gosh. And he
amazing.
Knew that he'd be able to put that touch of what the song needed. And I want to back up a little too, because Andie had a lot to do with forming the song as well. Like she said, we get together and we practice and we bounce ideas. So I was like, here's, an outline of a song. And then she started singing it. And when she started singing it, she just naturally has that cool rock thing in her voice, and it started bringing the song, hello, and it started taking the song in that direction, which I knew it would. It's like, okay, I've written this little structure of a song, where are you going to take it with your voice? And it was really cool. Again, another element, between all these forces coming together of just where her voice would take the song and giving it that rock feel too.
Cool.
But we added piano. Charlie knew.
Yeah, Tommy Reeves on piano was being in the studio and watching, I'm not kidding, watching Tommy Reeves on piano. He's got this style. It's kind of like little Richard, the way that he plays, and almost Jerry Lee Lewis, how he's just really going to town on. He's honestly like chasing that piano around the recording studio. He was playing it so hard. He came back into the control room and he went, hey, I'm sorry, Charlie, I think I pushed your piano out of tune. And he did. He pushed the entire piano out of tune just from him playing it. But it sounds so amazing. It's a party track.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can explain it.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's a party track, which I'm glad for.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, and I know Andie, as a vocalist, you have some experience in the jazz swing realm.
Yeah, a little bit, between in Orlando, working a lot of the shows that we worked, the jobs that we worked together. I've had to sing a bunch of different styles. Swing style is, the standards are, they're fun to sing. They're not easy to sing, but they are fun to sing. I mean, there's still standards that I love the songs, but I love other people singing them, because I don't know. I always, in the back of my head, I'm like, I don't think my voice really lends itself to a standard per se, but it definitely lends itself to rock and roll.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Andie and I did musical dinner theater together. I don't know, a couple hundred shows or so together over our course. I don't know.
Lord have mercy.
A lot. Yeah, it was a lot. The show life. Actually, Marie, I know you've been in other bands before. Do you want to talk about a little bit about your past with the bands in Texas and whatnot?
Yeah, when I lived in Texas, I was in a band called Sinister Sirens.
Yeah.
And we had so much fun. Oh my gosh, we had so much fun. And it's funny because I've always been an actress, like since forever, but being a musician was a whole other thing. And so it was like, it kind of put me in a new mindset of, this is what it's like being a musician. And we played a lot of venues in Houston, and it was so much fun. And I played guitar then as well, and also sang background vocals. And with my songwriting partner at the time, Deanna Hockey, who's in many bands in Houston still. And she's a very prolific songwriter, musician. She plays in a lot of different bands. And, but we just had a great time, and it really gave me a certain amount of confidence on stage. Like I had as an actor, and I can sometimes have when I'm doing like silly folksy songs, but doing like rock songs, it's like, wait, what? What? Go on stage and play rock music? What? And so it kind of opened me up to that world, which was very cool.
Excellent.
And we were like goth rock.
Yeah, I remember the first time you showed me a video of you playing Sinister Sirens. I was just like, look at you play guitar and sing and be all rock and roll.
I was a goth chick. What?
Yeah, I know the video you're talking about because I saw it too, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, rock and roll, man. And speaking of videos, there is a music video available from KMF. Is there not? Tell me about it.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about Sinister Sirens. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, talk about the video you guys did.
Yeah, we have an official music video for Lies, and that's on our YouTube channel. That was a lot of fun to make, which we actually filmed that on the roof of Marie's house.
Yeah.
Which was great.
Really fun seeing people in the neighborhood walking around and looking up and going, they're on a roof.
Like you were like U2 or the Beatles up there. You know?
She was.
Exactly. The comparisons.
They're shutting us down, you know.
There's Marie on the roof. She's the cutest thing. She's like, she sees somebody.
Fans of music.
Yeah, you guys look really cool in the video. So that's available on YouTube, right?
Yes.
So you just got to search for KMF and see. Everybody needs to go and subscribe to your YouTube channel and all the things. So
we got Facebook, we got YouTube, we got Instagram,
and it's usually under the key of _F.
Okay.
Because if you mush everything together, it just looks like the key off, and
okay, all right.
That doesn't work very well.
Which outlets you're on? Go ahead and name them all so everybody knows.
There's Instagram, which is at the key of _F. Facebook is the same way. We have YouTube, which you can actually look up the Key of F band. And if you put the Key of F, either Marie Pettit or the Key of F, Andie K in the search on YouTube, you'll find us a lot easier. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of instructional videos on how to actually play in the Key of F.
You'll learn something.
And I guess the big question everybody wants to know right now is, are any of your songs in the Key of F?
You know what? We're working on that.
Okay. All right.
Upcoming songs.
Yes.
You know, an interesting thing that I had read a long time ago, I don't know if this is still the case, but when I was a kid, I read a newspaper article once about how car horns are tuned to F.
Really?
At least back then they were. Yeah, it's a very disconcerting tone. F natural is there's something about it. It's a little off, you know.
It's a little off. It's a little hard.
It's not, and also like when you're playing on guitar, it's like not like the easiest key to play in on guitar.
No, it's not. It's not. It's such a, well, I don't know what it's like on regular, but on bass where the F is, especially on the E string, oh, it's such a pain to try to get to. It's like I'm usually
F for far away.
But and you're learning bass right now, right?
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned how to read music in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pandemic hit. We ended up writing, Marie and I together, we started writing more songs to put an album together. So we have like 4 other songs that are written that we still have to kind of woodshed them and put the finishing touches on. But the pandemic hit and it was really difficult to try to get together and songwrite and rehearse and stuff. And so I started learning bass guitar. And at least I've only been playing for a couple of months, but I can play our songs. I can't sing and play our songs at the same time, but I'm getting there.
That will come.
That will come.
Yes.
I hope so. Because when the pandemic's over, I'd love to be able to get a chance to play live. And if I can play bass and sing them at the same time, even better.
That day will come. That day will come. And another interesting thing, and I think I've told you this before about the key of F, is that, Paul McCartney, when he wrote Yesterday, I've read this, that one of his thoughts were, actually, I think I saw him I heard him in an interview say this, like, there's not a lot of songs in key of F. I'm going to write this song in the key of F. And so Yesterday, one of the most famous pop songs ever written is in the key of F. So, which is an uncommon key. So you're in good company.
I have the same thing where I'll write a lot of songs in A because I like to sing in A. So I would write things in A, and also on guitar, A is pretty easy to play.
It's a nice key to play in, yeah.
It is. So I do a lot of songs in A, and I got to a point where I was like, I have to write a song in a different key. So like I forced myself at one point. I was like, I'll write a comedy song in the key of G just because.
Yeah, I was writing so many songs in G major. Then I started hopping around and like, I got to write some in A. I got to write some in A. I got to try some different things because you can only do GC. You should only do GCD so much. But then again, it's like some of my favorite artists, like all their songs are in the key of G or D, and they play the same 3 chords and nobody minds. But
A, E, and D are like the best chords ever.
Yeah, but so, after a while, it's kind of okay if a lot of your stuff's in the same key if you're like writing creatively, So there you go, I think, as I've seen other artists do it. So maybe we should try it too. So I want people to buy your music, or I'm going to employ everybody on iTunes and Amazon, because you can stream it on Spotify and all that. But I want everybody to buy it. But why don't you just tell us, like, tell everybody, and we're going to link to it on the page, but tell us where we can buy it, where we can stream it.
You can buy it off of Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
Amazon Music. It will be up there. Hopefully you can still find it. I know that iTunes has started to phase out. They've gone to Apple Music, which is their streaming service.
Yeah.
So I don't really know if it's going to be available for purchase on iTunes or if they're just automatically going to bounce you over to Apple Music. But if you want to stream it, you can stream it on Spotify. That would be great. You can follow us on Spotify, which would be even better. We are the key of F on there.
Yeah.
At
present, you can buy it on iTunes right now.
On iTunes? Okay.
Yeah. But iTunes or Amazon. And are you on any of the other services?
Yeah, we are. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on Pandora. We're on all of the streaming platforms.
All right.
That it would take too long to list all of them, and I'm also drawing a blank.
All of them.
Everywhere good music is sold. You basically have no excuse. You can't tell us that you can't find the Key of F music available.
Yeah.
It's available everywhere. And I want everybody to know that I have purchased Lives myself.
Yay!
It's in my iPhone library here. And there's the photo of the lovely ladies.
That's an awesome photo.
I know, I know.
Isn't it?
Full disclosure.
That's something too that we have to bring up, is that you have been amazing to us, and thank you so much, because you did our cover for Lies, and you also did our cover for Feel in the Mood. So you were the photographer. Yeah.
Thank you.
Your awesome work. Yeah. So thank you so much for all of those, the photographs, and being our album cover artist.
Yay.
I love working with people that I love. So there you go.
Well, we love you right back.
Oh, thank you. So I got one more thing here to close out today. This is kind of a challenge I'm issuing to everybody that's on the show. So since you are a maker, we've well established that, I would like to challenge you in the next few days. If you have a chance to make a unique, special, creative moment, I'd love it if you'd share it with me. It could be a photograph or a microburst of audio or video, something simple, not time consuming, but something unique that you will create on the fly. It could be silly, it could be sublime, but if you happen upon a creative moment in the next few days, and if you want to share, I'd love it if you could capture that and send it over to me, and I'll share it with my readers here at Danger Cat Central. So have that in mind, okay?
Okay.
All right, cool, man. Is there anything else you guys you want to share with the world? Share with the Danger Cat out there? We covered everything. Okay, we covered everything. Okay. All right. Well, Andie, Marie, Key of F, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, and we wish you great prosperity and lots of fun in the future. And we know great things are ahead for the Key of F. So,
thank you so very much for having us. It's always nice spending time with you too. You know I love you guys bunches. So, and anytime I get to spend time with you is good. So thank you for this.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely, anytime. And we'll have you on again sometime when you release more music. So look forward to hearing more from the Key of F. So that's our show for today, everybody. I'm Danyell Corey at Danger Cat Central. I'm here with makers of the Key of F, Andie and Marie. And so long, everybody. Stay safe. Love each other.
Bye. Take care.